David Noble is on the line, Terry. We just wanted to touch base with him because they've secured a very good player today.
Yeah, look, a very good player in Eddie Betts. I think he'll actually perfectly fit in with their style and what they're trying to do down there. And David Noble, we welcome you to Trade Radio.
Hello, Plough. How day, mate?
Well, it's a good coup for the club before we get anything started throughout this trade period. We know the circumstances under the Kurt Tippett situation, which saw you lose some draft selections, but to bring in a player like Eddie Betts, a 4-year deal, we believe it is a great coup for the club.
Yeah, look, we've obviously got to go through the remaining part of the process, Plough, tomorrow, and hopefully get that all ticked off. But we just felt that, where we were at, as a group, we've probably tried to secure our key young guys over the last 2 years really strategically, and we think the timing's pretty right for us at the moment to start to explore that entry of the new free agency market. And we think, a guy like Eddie, we've certainly been hunting around a bit over the last 2 years with that lack of probably firepower for us in that forward end of the ground. We thought our midfield was in pretty good shape. Sando's done a really good job with refurbing the back end, and Callanan, Paul Pleasure, no Tippett, Walker with an injury, Jenkins with an injury late. We probably felt we needed to extend some depth in that front end of the ground.
Well, the free agency factor of it too, David, it's a free hit. I mean, and that's the thing that I think is so attractive to clubs, to be able to bring in a quality player, but you're not having to give up anything to actually get that to your club.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, Plough, is we've done a lot of research in the States on the free agency market there, and I think the cost factor and the budgeting factor of bringing those guys in without the investment in the training and development, it's already been done. So thought that whilst there was perhaps some conjecture and some unease with how the free agency market was going to land, we think that it's, in this case for us, it's certainly working in our favour.
The trade period's actually been very good for you over recent years. You've only got to go back and have a look at, I suppose, the mini draft with Brad Crouch, who looks like being a star player for you now. But I think the other two that have really developed that come through your trading is Tom Lynch from St Kilda and Lewis Johnson from Sydney. I mean, to bring those boys into the club, they really have flourished over the last couple of years. So it's been a pretty good period for you guys.
Yeah, look, I guess it's you're a little bit unknown at the time. I think at that time we had Ryan Marrick and Cody Armstrong and Phil Davis, as you said, went to GWS, and I think we were able to try to put some measures in place through that year that we knew there was some of those elements that were likely to occur. But certainly Tom, we'd watched him quite closely through that year. Hamish Ogilvie was a big go for him in the way that he handled himself, particularly at VFL level. And we thought that if he, we could create an opportunity for him to show us what he's got. Louis Johnson came back home. We thought that would help his maturity factor, I think, from Lewis' perspective. And his SANFL and the games that he played for us this year have been extremely encouraging. So we think that we're building that. I think, as you know, that the depth that you need of the number of players that are coming into that group that can play at that level.
You've had 5 players in the last couple of years as rising stars, number 2 behind the Greater Western Sydney Giants. So, I mean, that's a feather in the cap of a football club. Obviously, some draft picks going out. Do you look likely to do any trading to get back into the marketplace?
Look, I guess we're hopeful. I think the value of perhaps getting back into the first round is pretty tough. I think the value of what's needed to perhaps get into that area, we wouldn't be prepared to probably give up. It's your rising stars, it's the Dangerfield, Crouch, the Sloan. I don't know how many times poor old Rory's been mentioned as a possible, trade for that area, and he's just not going anywhere. So I think that's probably a real stretch for us. Second round may be an option. It depends on how active we are and the interest that other clubs perhaps may have in some of our guys on the list. So I think the second round seems to be a more realistic approach for us. It might be even the fact that this year it might just be, again, a bit of a holding pattern for us to make sure we just keep hold of what we've got.
Just a couple of specific players before we let you go, David. Keep hearing Bernie Vince's name come up, and I know he's contracted, and I know he doesn't want to go. Can we absolutely lock him in as a Crow in 2014?
Yeah, look, he's the best and fairest winner. He's a showdown medalist from that, particular group that you need. He's just ticking over right into the band of those guys at that age grouping that when you profile, you list out, and I think he's right in the window of what you need. So,
yep.
No, he's contracted. He's a quality class player.
Yep. And the hunt for Jarrod Pollock, is that going well?
Oh, look, it's ebbing and flowing. We don't have perhaps the picks that we would like to be able to manoeuvre our way through there. Are we able to create that opportunity for ourselves? I'm not sure. We're still just trying to work with Brisbane as close as we can. 2-horse race, we'd love to get, Jarrod back home. We think it probably adds that extra element for us as he does with Port, I dare say, that, that outside run, speed and carry, can play anywhere from that half-forward wing up to sort of that, seventh defender across half-back. So, look, we're still hopeful. We're still in there punching. So, you'd like to think that we might be able to create something that gets the deal done.
A lot of interest in Heath Shaw from a lot of areas. What about the Crows?
Look, I don't think so. It probably came onto the radar for us a bit too late. We're a fair down the path with a few other things. The guys that I think we've got across that half-back line, Riley comes back into our mix again this year, and I think the way we've started to develop that Henderson, Shaw, Talia, Riley, Brown sort of group across that half-back. Look, we'd love to have him, but I think it's unlikely with us not having again picks round 1 or round 2 selection to do any trading through this period, particularly with Shorey.
Yep.
Just David, just one last one. Sean McKernan, where is that playing out at the moment? Do you know? He sort of has made mention that he wants to go back to Victoria. Yeah. Do you know how that'll play out?
Oh, it's a bit quiet, I think, at the moment, Plough. Look, we respect the fact that Sean's exploring those opportunities. We know that he wants to be a bit closer to family back here. So, look, we'll work with his management in that regard. We would like to keep him, obviously, because of the injuries that you cop this year and no Tibbet. Like, he becomes an important ingredient in that forward ruck type of role. So, we know that he's expressed some interest. We're happy for him to explore that market. But, look, haven't heard anything on the radar as yet as to where that lands.
And just as we let you go, you won't have to give up much to get this player, but is it possible Alan Didak might attract some interest from your end before the trade period's out?
Oh, look, I don't think so, Domo. I think the fact of us backing Jason Paul-Pleasure in again, I think they're quite similar. So I think we've worked with his management, over the previous sort of few weeks. So I think that one probably gets ticked off with Porps there. A bit of luck, Betts gets across the line with Carlton having the opportunity to match it if they see fit. And a Petrenko and those guys that I think are still just coming out of that sort of emerging phase in our group to probably take that role, I think.
Sure. Hey, David, thanks as always, as you do regularly on Trade Radio.